Hello, I'm Cristina Ljungberg, and I'm so privileged to be introducing the next segment where we will continue to share stories. All of us here are going to be sharing a short story with you about our journey for change. So my journey for change with Acumen, I think we can call it an education of a philanthropist. I'm a small town girl from Indiana. I studied biology. I worked in the healthcare industry, went back to school, got my MBA, moved to Sweden, worked in management consulting, shifted my focus for working full-time with documentary films. And at a certain point, my husband and I decided it was time to engage with philanthropy. And I have to tell you, neither of us had that history on either sides of our families. And we found ourselves in Stockholm in an environment where philanthropy isn't openly talked about. So we figured we had two options. We could do the also common spray and pray method of spray some funding around and see what happens. Or we could bet on an organization that we were fairly confident was a winner, and we could leverage that for our education. So my education as a philanthropist really started on the day that we became anchor donors in the Acumen education portfolio, together, as it chance would have it, with two other Swedish foundations, which automatically gave us an opportunity for a network in our own neighborhood. So I've spent the last few years traveling with Acumen, going to places like East Africa and India, where in pure Acumen style, it's been a deep dive of learning about a place, a people, the challenges they face, meeting with 1 million different portfolio companies across all the portfolios, global fellows, regional fellows, and most importantly, talking with customers. I've also done a lot of learning with Acumen. I've taken Acumen +Acumen courses. I've learned with other people from the Acumen community through Good Society readings. And Acumen has even introduced me to my first direct impact investment in an area that I feel passionately about, menstrual health, AfriPads, where I've served the last 3 years on the board. So what have I learned? I've learned what it means to be a good funder for me. It's about humility, curiosity, flexibility, being comfortable with taking risk. It's about becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. So where does that leave me today? Today, I'm in the 6th year of my lifelong journey in philanthropy. I'm currently taking a +Acumen course, human-centered design, that I'll be leveraging for a 3-year project that I'm doing in Nepal. And as it looks, I'm also signed up for public speaking, but I didn't know it.
Thank you, Cristina. Good morning. My name is Imran Sarwar. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Rabtt, a social enterprise based out of Lahore, Pakistan. And I was an Acumen Pakistan fellow back in 2014. So I'll be honest, the last few months have been tough. Back at Rabtt, back in Pakistan, we have had operational problems. We have had a huge brain drain. 3 of our core team members left for grad school for US and UK, which is amazing, but leaves a hole in the organization. And we have had financial problems. For the first time, we are in the red. And the first time you get there, the first time you're under debt, it's not a good feeling. So what do you do? What do you do when you're in that situation? Wallowing in self-pity is one option, and we have all been there, right? But what I decided to do was I reached out to this community, the community that is sitting here right now, people around you. I reached out to Saima, who's sitting here somewhere. She manages the programs fellow in Pakistan. We just met up and I talked. She did very little other than just to listen, to absorb. And that helped. That feeling that someone is there to just listen to you, not to correct you, just to listen to you. I reached out to Mashal, who's a fellow from the Pakistan cohort, and we talked. She's doing something very similar in Karachi, Pakistan, a similar project. And it felt good to be talking to someone who is going through that same trouble. And that conversation was therapeutic. Basically, Mashal was like, Imran, this is not the first time you're going through this, and this is definitely not the last time. You need to get used to this. Need to get used to being on the low, but then starting to rise again. 1 month after that, I got the opportunity to work with the current class of Pakistan Fellows, the class of 2016. I did 2 sessions with them, did 2 trainings on ethical decision making, on pitching. And after those 2 sessions, essentially what I felt was, I made a connection with the current fellows, with the current class. But more than that, I had helped them in realizing some skill, in actualizing some talent that they will use when they go out into the field. And more than anything else, I felt useful. When you are filled with self-doubt, trust me, feeling useful, it's a really good feeling. And that's what this community is for me. The people who are sitting here, the people sitting around you, that's what they provide. We are a wonderful resource for each other. And that resource has been what my leadership journey with Acumen has been about. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time and for listening to our stories. My name is Marilena Hatoupis. I work in creative and marketing at a publishing company called Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. I'm also the co-founder and U.S. executive director of a nonprofit organization called Urban Refugees, and the former courses co-chair of +Acumen here in New York. So it's kind of a mouthful. So a couple of years ago, I was at a kind of a crossroads in my career and my personal life, and decided that I would try a +Acumen course. And I'm really glad that I did, because not only was it an amazing experience where I learned a ton, but also I got introduced to a wonderful, very inspiring and supportive community, which is +Acumen. One course in particular that stands out today is a course called Adaptive Leadership. As the name implies, it's all about learning about leadership skills, which is something I really didn't know about or hadn't really thought about at the time. And there are 3 key takeaways that I took away from that course, which are the importance of being flexible as a leader, the capacity to have courageous and difficult conversations with my team, and also to be able to have the humility to admit either when I'm wrong or I've made a mistake or I don't have the solution or the answer to something. And all of those skills came in very handy a couple of months ago when I was talking to my counterpart Sonia, who's in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. And she was launching our first pilot field program working with a refugee-led organization called the Afghan Community Center. And we had this whole plan with all the timelines and the deadlines about how we were going to go about our project with reporting requirements and monitoring and evaluation, etc. And I realized that all of our plans were not going to work in the field. So we had to go back to square one and start from scratch. Luckily, I had kind of had some experience with that in terms of going back to the course that I had taken, the Adaptive Leadership course, and use some of the skills that I had learned with my team and working on other projects and apply them to this context. And that helped a great deal. So I would like to invite you, on that note, to take a +Acumen course, join the +Acumen community, and I'm sure you'll be amazing. Thank you.
It's 1983, Sri Lanka, and I'm 6 years old. I remember that it was a really dark day, and it was hot. It was really hot. I wish I could remember what it smelled like or what it looked like, but I was 6, and I don't remember. I remember getting into the car with my grandparents, my mom, and my cousin, and we start driving. I'm not really sure where we're going. There's a lot of whispering, but no one's really saying what's happening. We finally get to our destination, and we get out of the car, and we start saying our goodbyes. And I realize this is the last time I'm going to see my family together again. I hold on to my grandpa, say goodbye one last time, and my mom takes my hand, and we walk into the airport, and it's bright. It's really bright in the airport. And immediately, I'm transported to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where one of the biggest blizzards in a decade has just hit the town. The doors to the airport open again, and this time I see snow, and I run right into it. I have no idea that snow is really cold. My father joins us, and we move to a small farm town in Hutchinson, Minnesota, where he becomes a farmhand and eventually enrolls into a community college. We moved to the suburbs of Minnesota, and we lived the American dream. I go to school, I have access to clean water, I have a roof over my head, and I can read any book that I want to. I become aware of all the opportunities that I have, and I fight like hell to take advantage of every single opportunity that I have. Opportunity without motivation is a waste. Motivation without opportunity is a shame. My name is Pradeepa Jeeva, and I am a 2017 Global Fellow. I will be going to Under the Mango Tree in Mumbai, India. Thank you.
Excuse me. Three, 0, 1, 8, 2, /34. My neighbor, Mr. Kumbo, was /35. Tawanda's family at the corner, I think, was /50 something. Because where I come from, Ntumbane, a township in Zimbabwe, the streets have no names. The people have no names, they're just statistics. I start each day with a warm bowl of porridge, right? Corn porridge. On a good day, I'll find some sugar in the house somewhere to get it to taste. That's my sustenance for the whole day until about 2 p.m. Of course, in that day, I'm gonna skip the break at 10 in the morning, where the other kids pull out their lunch boxes for snacks. I'm gonna sit on the bench at soccer practice because I'm depleted. I don't have the energy to run around. I can't be a kid. So when I get home around 2 p.m. and mom has made sadza and vegetables, a sense of relief washes over me. Finally, I can silence the orchestra symphony that's been playing in my tummy all day. Hunger in D minor, I call it. There's no dignity in not having food to eat. So on a regular morning, I'm walking to school and I hear a different kind of melody, a different kind of symphony. It's our mothers and our grandmothers, our gogos, sweeping their yards. And I was always fascinated that in this forgotten place, you know, when nothingness is our lot, these women found in this little act, you know, of meticulously just going through their yards and dusting as if dusting the yards out, sweeping the dust out of their houses, and sweeping the dignity back in. It always fascinated me that even in that little act, they reclaimed their dignity. I believe that practicing extreme love is a pathway to dignity, and we define dignity as the opposite to poverty. I'm one of the few, the very few that made it through, that made it out of poverty. And there's nothing special about me, just that I had opportunities that others who look like me, sound like me, didn't have. So today, I also speak for them. The nameless, we're just statistics and numbers, the ones with no names. My name is Nqobizitha Ndlovu. I'm a 2017 Global Fellow with that class over there. And I'll be going to join the Solar Now team in Uganda. Thank you.